Hey guys, it's Mick again, and today we'll be looking at how to play Tokaido. Game is for 2 to 5 players. A standard game lasts 45 minutes and you will journey along the East Sea route in Japan. During your voyage you will meet various encounters, you will visit onsens, complete beautiful scenery and buy souvenirs. All of those will award you points at the end, and the goal of the game is obviously having the most points. The beauty of this game is not only its visual aspects, which is really nice, but also the fact that all the kanji, all the written terminologies are faithful to what it actually is. Tokaido, if you see, this is actually how it's written, Tokaido. In the box you will find the rulebook. Even if it's really short, don't worry, we've got you covered. You will find your game board where our journey will happen. You will find your travelers, each one with a specific skills. We'll find 5 player markers, 5 backpacks for each player that will go into this slot. Then we have obviously our gold coins. We find encounter cards, onsens, food that we can buy at the inn, and finally our souvenirs, each different and each written in the original kanji way. In the box we'll also have sceneries divided in sea, mountain and rice field. Each card is part of the scenery which you need to complete it. And you also can find some cards for extra achievements, free for the scenery, and special achievements for whoever visited the most onsens, whoever spent the most gold at food in the inns, whoever bought the most souvenirs, and whoever had the most encounters in the game. And the setup will start with the game board. Take your game board and put it in your play area. Then take your travelers, starting from the first player. Pick 2 at random and choose one of those. And repeat this operation for every player in game. For a detailed description of the skills, we recommend to looking at the rulebook, as each of the travelers have a very specific ability. Pick our player and our victory points markers. We also put this in our color. So starting, we take this disc and we place it here. You see that we have a hole in our travelers. This is to know which color each one is. And we can start setting up. Each player goes here on the first in, starting from the top. And we place our victory points markers on the start, so on the 0. Take your coins and place them near the board. Each one of your travelers have a specified number of gold coins they start the journey with. So from the main bank, take whatever you cut. Take your scenery cards and be mindful that at the top there should be 1, and then going up 2, and somewhere at the end 3, and just put them in the corresponding spot. Take the extra victory cards and place them near the board visible. In the same way, start putting encounters and place them on the corresponding. Same thing for the meals and same thing with the onsen springs. Finally, we put our items, our souvenirs. Lastly, as we did for the extra victory points for the scenery, we also have some extra victory points for the player that visited most onsens, had most encounters, had tried most different type of foods, and finally bought most souvenirs. Also those goes here near the board. How to play the game is actually pretty simple in its rules. There is no villain phase, no environment phase. In your turn you can make basically one action, which is moving forward. As you see, the game is divided in segments which are delimited by the inns. During our turn we can move to any place that's 3 ahead of us. Starting from the player that's farthest from the road from the inn, we can move to any of those. This is important in this game, you cannot go back. So once you move to a spot, you cannot go back. Once a player reaches the inn, he is placed on the first stop of the inn, and this player will have to wait until all the others make their way here. What can you do during your turn is we mentioned stopping at various locations. Black ones, if you stop here, you can buy souvenirs. We take the top 3 cards from the deck and we decide which one we want, obviously paying their cost. Each souvenir is part of a specific set, and depending how many items of a set you have, you will get a point. So if you only have 1 item from the clothing set, you will get 1. If you have 2, you will get 3. When we decide which one we want to buy, pay it cost, and we put it in our game area. Next stop is the temple. We can make a donation. Depending how many gold coins we donate, we'll receive the appropriate amount of points immediately. And at the end of the game, the player with the most contribution will receive 10 points, second place 7, 4 and 2. You put your donations here, and this stays here, and only add up to it, but you cannot take this back. Next stop is the encounter. We take the top card from the encounter deck and we resolve immediately its effect. So in this case, we get 3 points and we add it to our gameplay. Next is the scenery. We take the appropriate card from the corresponding deck. We take the top one and we add it to our play area. Now, this is important. If at some point later in the game, gain the green scenery, we don't take the one, but we'll have to go and pick the 2. Same thing, if we advance further in the game and at some point we ended up here, we'll go and take the first piece. This is a complete scenery. If we are the first player to complete a specific scenery, we will pick extra points. And at this point, stopping in the green scenery doesn't give us anything. Each player can only have 1 scenery of each type. This means that in this example we are using, green player cannot take any more green scenery type. Next stop we can make during our journey is the hot spring onsen. Same as encounters, we take the top card, we add it to our collection. Next stop is the farm. When you stop at the farm, you take 3 coins from the bank. As mentioned before, the game continues player after player until one of the players decides to stop at the inn. The player that reaches the inn, he will no longer take part in this first part of the journey. He will have to wait for the other players to join him. But being the first at the inn gives us some bonus. We can buy food. All these food items gives 6 victory points, but the difference is in their cost. The first player to the inn will take the same number of cards as there are players in game plus 1. So in our example, 4. Obviously, being the first, we can choose whichever item we want. We can buy only one of those. Being the first player is more convenient to buy something that costs less. So we'll have only to pay 1 gold for this. In our example, next player that gets to the inn will probably take the dango if he has 1 coin. And player 3 will be left with tofu or udon that are 2 and 3. So he will spend more resources. When all players reach the inn, the fastest one from the row will move first, and the game will play until we all reach the end. Once all players reach the final stop, the game ends and points will be assigned based on our journey. Special rules. The first special rule that we must mention in this game is how the player movements happen. As you know, in many games you just go in order, player 1, 2, 3 and so on. In this game, movement is decided by where you are on the map. Always the player that's farther from the inn moves. So let's say we are in this scenario. First player to move is green. Green player can move to any free spot ahead of him. And remember, the player turn is the one that's farthest from the inn or from the road. So if we move only from one spot, from the temple to the encounter, we pick our encounter, we are still the player that is farthest from the inn. So we'll move again, and maybe we'll go here. Again, we are still the player farthest, so it's still our turn. At this point, the player farthest is the yellow. So it's yellow turn, maybe he will decide to go here. It's the green again. Same thing when you are at the inn. The player farthest from the road, the inn is the road, so the farthest one is the blue, will move first. Another special rule that's worth mentioning, on the board you see sometimes you have two spots. One is on the road, one is offside. This means that two players can stand here, but only in games for 4 and 5 players. So this option is not available if you play with just 3 players. If you play with 3 or less, you can only use the road. You cannot use the second access spot. Final scoring. Once all player reaches the final inn, game ends and we'll be tallying our points. Depending if you assign during the game or if you prefer to do it at the end, whatever you didn't do it now. Let's say, for example, we will tally yellow player points to show you how it's calculated. Let's start with the encounters. From this encounters, only samurai gives points. Immediate points are free. Then we have the special skill of our traveler, which says that for every encounter he will receive 1 victory point and 1 gold. So we have 4 points plus 3, 7. Then we go to the scenery. Scenery, we just add the points that we see. So 1, 2 is 3. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 15, and green only 1. Then we'll add the food boat at the inns. This player only got these 2 items. We will add scenery victory point. He was the first player to achieve a full view of the sea. And we'll also add onsens. In this case, this player doesn't have any onsen, so we don't have to tally these points. Finally, we will add our souvenirs. As we mentioned in the beginning, points are based on how many items of the same set you have. In this case, we have 2 items, so we'll get 3 points for this. So we add our points, we'll move corresponding marker. Once every player finishes tallying up the points, we will assign the achievement. So the person with the most number of onsens visited, person with most encounters, person that spent the most money on food in the inn, person that bought most souvenirs. Once you finish adding all the points, that's it. Whoever has the most wins the game. That's it, guys. I hope you find this useful. Like us and subscribe for more, and see you next time.